I want to come back to the animal welfare part, because I think that that's a common misconception, how people tend to think that farmers who raise animals don't care about animals, which couldn't be further from this truth. I mean, you took us around, we saw your girls, and they're so happy you take such good care of them. So what would you invite people to consider in terms of how systems like the ones that you do on your farm really do have the animals' well-being at heart?
Okay, well, most UK farmers would have their animals. If the animals are ill, they don't produce. The fact is that there is very few farms that aren't thinking about the welfare of their animals, because it makes good business sense that they're healthy. So, even the biggest commercial herds, their cows are well fed, they're comfortable, their needs are looked after.
Yeah.
Maybe not their emotional needs, because that's a different element that maybe gets overlooked. But they are striving for that. I mean, you couldn't have a commercial herd keep cows with calves. I mean, it's just it doesn't work. You can't have the two together. So where there's where you hear like the vegans say, well, the cows are ripped away from their mothers. They don't form that big a bond in that many hours. So actually, it's a lot easier. When you see those calves that are then taken into individual pen, they are individually, they're micromanaged. They know exactly how much feed they've had. If they're not drinking enough, they'll take the temperature. Those calves are well looked after. When my calves are born, they just stay with their mothers.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know how much they're drinking.
Right.
I assume they're drinking enough because they're having access for 24 hours. But I have no way of actually monitoring that. I'm relying on the nature of part of that to work. But those calves are very well looked after in the commercial herd. Under no circumstances are they abused, because it makes sense for that animal to have the best start in its life. I mean, if it doesn't, it gets the right amount of colostrum within a few hours. And yes, they are put in individual pens. That's not because the farmers don't like them. That's so they can monitor them. Then after a week, they might go into a pen of 3 or 4, and then those groups just get bigger as they get stronger. So there's so many elements that are misconstrued in the media, and especially obviously the vegan movement. That's the and like I said to you earlier, I understand why people go vegan, because I can't even watch those images it is well intended, and it comes from a good place, and I totally understand why people why you would feel that you couldn't support an industry that does these horrible things that they see maybe in Brazil or somewhere else that actually doesn't refer to anything that is happening in their home countries. So I get that. I totally get it. It's not based in any kind of reality at all. I mean, I don't agree with like the feedlots in America.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But they're supplying a market. The market dictates. People want cheap food. When people realise that cheap food is cheap for a reason, something always pays. There's no such thing as cheap.
There's a trade-off.
Always.
Everywhere.
So it's going to be the environment, it's going to be the animals, it's going to be your health because you're not getting the good nutrition. So my emphasis is producing really good fat and protein on a low stress system, because it's the best type. So you need a lot less. When you have grass-fed meat, and it's properly grass-fed all the way through its life, you don't need anywhere near as much bulk to get the same nutrition. I mean, your body even knows it. So when you eat mass-produced, starch-filled meat, you need a lot more to be satiated.